5 years ago, our lives were turned upside down when my husband collapsed with a burst aortic aneurysm, and were told to expect a 1 to 2 year recovery. As if this wasn't bad enough, we also had our first encounter with ATOS and the Work Capability Assessment. We waded through all the paperwork to claim ESA, and 6 weeks after my husband was discharged from hospital, he received an invitation to attend an assessment, despite the fact that he was signed off work by his surgeon. We soon learned that these tests are not to be confused with medicals. They're not. They're nothing to do with your condition or illness. These are computer-based functionality tick-box assessments, which are carried out on everyone, from new claimants, those with long-term disabilities, to the terminally ill. Even those who are too sick to attend the medical centre, the assessors come out to you. What a nonsense that is. If you're not well enough to go out of the home, how on earth can you be deemed fit for work? The face-to-face assessment begins when your name is called. They watch as you walk down the corridor. You sit opposite a nurse, physiotherapist, or sometimes a doctor. They tap away on their laptop, asking ridiculous questions about chewing, swallowing, preparing your own lunch. They test to see if you can pick up a pencil, lift an arm. There's little talk of what is actually wrong with you, and no reference to medical evidence. To pass, i.e. to be declared unfit to work, you have to get 15 points. You can get all of these in one go if you can't press a button on a telephone or turn a page of a book. You'll get 9 points if you're blind and cannot navigate around unfamiliar surroundings without assistance, or 6 points if you've lost consciousness at least once in a month. So this gives you an idea of just how strict the test is and how difficult it is to pass. Once over, the assessor writes her report, gives her opinion of what just happened, and sends it to the DWP decision maker. Needless to say, my husband failed. He was found fit for work. The nurse had no interest in the medical facts, nor that his 15-inch wound from his heart to his groin hadn't yet healed, and he hadn't yet had his post-op appointment with the surgeon. We received a copy of the assessment report and were shocked at the way the whole thing had been rewritten. None of it was what we had said, or how we'd said it. Only 1 in 8 survived these ruptures, and whilst the surgeon did a fantastic job of saving my husband's life, this nurse knew better, and the report stated he had an abdominal problem. A total distortion of the facts. So no wonder he failed. As my husband failed the test, he was put in the work-related activity group instead of the support group. 9 weeks on, and eviction notices received, he finally received the lower rate ESA, which triggered housing benefit too. To keep his ESA, he had to attend regular meetings to prepare for work. Except he had already got work, but couldn't do it because he was too ill. There are many stories like ours out there, people wrongly assessed and found fit for work. While I was protesting outside the medical centre here in town, a man stood before me telling his story. He'd just been discharged from hospital after having a kidney removed. He was told, go home, rest and recover in readiness for his next stop in 2 weeks' time. His skin was yellow, he was sweating, shaking, and walked with a limp. He had just failed his assessment and been found fit for work. Now this in itself is disgusting enough, but then you have to ask, who would employ a man who is clearly so sick? With so many wrong decisions being made and needing to go to the tribunal, there are long delays and the courts have had to recruit more judges and rent more venues to cope. But once the medical evidence has been considered, a huge percent of cases are being overturned. Just one scary statistic doing the rounds is the fact that between January and November 2011, 10,600 people died. They died within 6 weeks of ATOS finding them fit for work. These people didn't have time to appeal. This just shows that the assessments are not fit for purpose, they are unfair, the system is broken, The BMA called for abolishing these tests last year, and Professor Harrington, employed to review them, labelled them inhumane. Ian Duncan Smith has gone on a spending spree of taxpayers' money of £162 million per year for ATOS and the tribunals. This is unacceptable and is hardly fixing the problem of the 0.7% reported fraud he says he is rooting out. This is not working. The point is, everyone here is a taxpayer. None of us know when illness might strike. We have all paid in, and we are entitled to claim what is rightfully ours. If this was a private health scheme, there would be an outcry. There would be court cases. But because this is a government-run scheme, we all sit back and take it. We're all scared to rock the boat. The fear was etched in people's faces those couple of days on the streets. Scared to look at us, talk to us. Who can blame them, with the threat of sanctions of anything from 1 month to 3 years hanging over their head? Many of these poor people who are suffering were hard-working, like yourselves, or come from hard-working families and don't deserve the disrespect they encounter. And let's face it, it could happen to you.